Hey guys, welcome to the Emergence podcast, a podcast that aims to empower fitness professionals through candid conversations about building sustainable minds, bodies, and businesses. I'm your host, Laura Gunder, ex-professional ballet dancer turned classical Pilates instructor based in New York City, sharing my insights from a decades-long journey navigating an industry with no set path to success. Thanks so much for tuning in. Hi, Saphi. How are you doing?
Doing well. Excited to be here. Was excited when you asked me to join, actually. I'm like, oh yeah, I can talk to Laura on a podcast. So excited for you and this new venture. So thanks for inviting me.
I'm so excited to have you. Can you speak a little bit about yourself quickly to let people know who you are?
Yep. So my name's Safisher. Everyone calls me Safi. Born and raised in Miami, Florida. I went to school at Florida State, studied communications, landed in marketing, and then fell into Pilates. I truly feel like it was just like God's divine plan for my life. And now I have a home studio.
And how long have you had the studio for now? Has it been a year yet?
It's been a year. Yeah. So probably a year and 4 months at this point.
And how does it feel to have had your own studio now compared to working? Where were you working previously before?
So I was at group studios before, and it was a contemporary studio. So as you know, I would go to New York, take from Katie Yip, took lessons with you, and I like fell in love with the classical method. So the equipment that I have here is classical, and it feels, I think I've always had like an entrepreneurial spirit just because my family and the foundation of it, they've always had their own businesses. So it's almost like a juxtaposition between going to corporate America, because that's what I did before when I graduated. I did marketing and then I was working at a group studio. And that lifestyle was so different than the 9 to 5. And then now I'm back in having like my own kind of business now with the home studio. And it feels refreshing and rewarding all at the same time.
How is it different from the kind of 9 to 5 grind to where you are now? What are like the major differences?
I will say I feel like my spirit is completely evolved. I think in the corporate space, it was a little stuffy. Everyone had a mission. I don't know if it was a purpose, right? Because there's a difference between a to-do list and like what your purpose is and what you're called to do. And now I feel more aligned with working with the body, right? The body is part of your soul. And when you
Mhm.
work with people, it feels more personal. I almost feel like I'm more in my feminine in a way because there's a lot of women in Pilates and it's going back to group studio. That
Mhm.
community of women was something that I had not experienced, especially in the corporate world where sometimes it's like male dominated. Although I will say in the marketing space, there are a significant number amount of women compared to other roles. So I'd say I feel more aligned in my purpose.
And something that you spoke to me about briefly was you said that your career really, like your faith has to do a lot with your career. Can you talk a little bit more about sort of faith and how that plays into your own kind of physical practice and personal practice in terms of your clients?
Yeah. So backstory, I had like my own marketing business for a while. I had subcontractors and contractors, and there was a point where I was interested in Pilates. I signed up, loved it, and then I remember calling my dad and I was like, "Hey dad, I think I want to do the teacher training program." And he's like, "Yeah, you never know where it will take you." And for me, I prayed about it, and that's when I was kind of really leaning into my faith. And sounds kind of kooky, but like you hear the voice of God when you pray because you learn more about him. And once you read the Bible, you learn the character he is. And that's how you hear the voice of God. And I'm like, you know what? I think I need to get the certification. We never know where it's going to go. So I said, let's do it. We did it. And then one of my biggest marketing clients was going out of business. He was 50% of my revenue. And that's not a good business practice. So, key learning moment there. But I prayed and I said, look, if you want me to go into Pilates full time, I need there to be a career, like 4 different positions available. I need to be able to get them for the hours. Because at a group studio, they never give you a full workload. You'll get like 3 hours here, 4 hours here. So I got the interviews, I got the jobs, and I said, okay, I'm gonna do Pilates full time. If it doesn't work, I go back to school and I get a job. And then as I continued to pray on it, I felt called to buy a reformer. And as you know, equipment is expensive. It's a significant investment. But for me, I felt like he told me that's not your money, it's not my money. And if you walk in the faith, you know that there's a tithe that you give, there's a 10%. But then there's also knowing that when you surrender your money, when you surrender your finances, it's a lot more rewarding in his hands. Like he knows what to do with it better than I do. So I said, okay, if you want me to invest the money in the reformer, I will do it. And then I did it. And on time, God, kind of things happened where I was able to transition out of the group studio space and into this space. And I have to like pray over my space, right? Because we're working with the body. And as you know, when people come in, you don't know how they're coming in. You don't know what they were doing before. You don't know what headspace they were in. You don't know like how you're receiving them, but it's my responsibility to kind of steward the person in front of me. Yes, I train the body, but it's also like the spirit and like their soul because they come
Yeah.
here not just for the workout, but who I am as a trainer. And people have told me that. And when they come into this space, they're like, wow, it feels very peaceful in here. And I'm like, yeah, it's because I pray. I don't tell them this, right? But like,
Yeah.
no, it's because I'm praying. I'm like worshiping in my space. This is like as close as I can get them to the spirit. Then I want them to experience that here. So I pray over my clients for supernatural healing, right? Like we're like Jehovah Rapha. People come in with like lower back pain. I'm not a PT. I don't pretend to be a PT, but it just so
Right.
happens that Pilates works, right? And if you sprinkle in some of like the Jesus and the Holy Spirit, it's like awesome to see how they, and I remember Katie said it one time too. She's like, sometimes you have to follow your gut. And for me, that's like sometimes the Holy Spirit is working in you and
Right.
like kind of shines a light on try this exercise or try this. And I'm like, oh, I do it and it works. I'm like, this is amazing.
No, I love that. I feel like faith in general, regardless if it's with God or whatever religious practice you might have, spirituality is so important in entrepreneurship because having that gut instinct and that kind of knowing is, and that like trusting of your own self is like one of the biggest ways you're going to succeed as an entrepreneur. Because if you don't have that faith in yourself, in God, and whatever you believe in, it's going to make it really difficult to succeed and sort of take those risks. Because starting your own Pilates practice is no joke. Like having your own business is scary. And it's amazing that you could do that in an entire year. So, congratulations. That's really cool. But I really loved, yeah, what you said about when your client comes in, sort of having to read the room. And that's like really amazing that you kind of have that understanding. It's such a newer teacher because it kind of took me a while to learn that, you know, that person is has their own day and kind of has come in with their own issues and stuff. And you need to look kind of, yeah, be able to read them and understand what they need in that session. So that's really cool that you have that. In terms of like your kind of trusting your gut, what sort of like what sort of motivated you from the kind of group fitness space to kind of come into the your own business? Like kind of what was the turning point where you were like, no, I can do this. Like I've built my roster. And how did you kind of transition from just doing the group fitness into being like, no, I'm good. I can kind of work for myself now.
Well, I didn't have a roster. Like it was really faith-based. It's like one key thing is with your faith, you have to be obedient the first time you hear it. Delayed obedience is disobedience. But I had to have faith that clients were going to come. And I felt confident enough in my skill set. I saw that I was a different instructor than the group instructors I was seeing. There's like different pools of instructors and types of instructors. Some of them come or teach just because it's a side thing, 4 hours a week, they're good. They just like Pilates, but it's not their career. And
Right.
I felt like if I continued to work somewhere where it wasn't career based, it was more of a job, I was not going to grow. And my mindset was going to shift to a short term. I just want to have a class to have fun and then go home. But that wasn't my intention. My intention in Pilates is to like, again, help people advance their practice, whatever it is, and it's in helping. Marketing, either way, like in the same line, when you're doing marketing, it's to help the business grow.
Right.
So it's kind of like a similar intention, right? You want to help someone grow. And I felt like it just was not in a group space. So what I leaned on was I have a good skill set and I have God. That's what I got. So and it was honestly kind of low risk because it's in my home. It's not like I'm renting a space. I'm
Mhm.
just putting a division in my home. I don't have any kids. I don't have any dependents. So it was for me, it was kind of low risk. And what I leaned on was also my marketing practice. So I knew how to use Google reviews. I knew how to use social media and SEO was all Google reviews. And that's this past year, Laura, and like the past, I think 4 weeks, I've gotten 3 clients from Google reviews and then 2 referrals. And that's how it'll happen. Someone will come in, they refer me to somebody else, and then somebody else. And that's how the client database grows. But you have to give them a good session. You can't get by and not be a good instructor. And some group clients liked me so much that when I left studios, they would reach out to me. But I never poached the client. I always let them come to me. And at the beginning, I'm like, no, I can't. Like, I don't want to see you here. I mean, well, kindly, you know.
I don't want to see you.
I
Yeah.
don't see you. Like, because I felt guilty almost. But the truth is, they felt more comfortable with me. And I prayed about it and I'm like, if they want to follow me, because Laura, they were asking me, like, I'm following you wherever you go. They were very intentional. I said, no, no, no. And I'm like, if they want to come, so
I
be it.
mean, the clients are loyal to you. Like that's the thing about working for group fitness. It's like you're the teacher, the people are coming for you. So if you build that relationship with your clients, and you don't have to do anything illegal and like poach clients, but if they're loyal to you, they will follow you. And it's because of you that they come, not because of the studio you work for, which is, I think, something important to talk about
Right.
because it is you. You're the energy. You're the person that's putting in the work, that's thinking about the sessions. So, of course, they want to come and follow the person that they like, not just the studio.
Yeah. And kudos to like the studios, because I do feel like in some studios more than others, they care about the instructors and they understand like the instructor makes it, so they'll invest in the instructor. And I'm grateful for like previous studios that I was in where they had trainings and they hosted trainings. And I still get along with like all the owners of the studios.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Man, there was something that you said that made me give me a thought. Hmm.
Happens to me all the time.
Um, but yeah, to your point, it is like the instructor who I think makes makes the session. You can't have a studio if you don't have good instructors, just like any business, really.
And having good instructors means that those instructors, like you were saying, invest in their own education. I feel like that those are the instructors I've always followed, are the instructors that are continuously open to learning and challenging the way they think, which I think is very much the way you are from how I know you.
Mhm.
But yeah, those people and kinds of instructors are the people that kind of inspire clients. Because I know any of the teachers I work with, they're constantly practicing, they're constantly learning from other people. And it's just like that's an energy in itself, is that desire to grow. And your clients can feel it. And we can feel it when I've trained with my teachers. It's like they get so excited. And there's nothing better than taking a class with a teacher who cares so much that they're excited to be there. And of course, you want to follow them. You don't want somebody who's like sleepy and like yawning and just like partially there. So,
Right. And I think I was watching like an Imagineers from the Disney World organization. I think it was one of their videos online. They talked about you can almost like feel perfection, right? And something like Disney where it's like almost a fantasy, you don't really know what to expect. You can feel the perfectionism. And I
yeah,
think in Pilates, because it's such there's a huge spectrum of Pilates. You have the contemporary, the modern, the classical, the traditional. Someone coming off the street may not know the technicalities, but they can feel the perfection, right? Quote unquote perfection. Is this person energized? Are they being intentional? Do they feel confident? And you can feel that. And I think that's what makes the difference when you're building your client database.
totally. And I talk about this with people all the time. It's like your vibe attracts your tribe. So I've kind of noticed like a pattern between the kind of clients that I tend to attract. Like it's a very kind of specific person. And through my teaching career, I used to, at the beginning, yeah, I have to teach whoever I can get because that's just the way it goes. But
Yeah.
sort of as you move through your career, you kind of notice that certain people stay with you and certain people maybe aren't meant for you. And I used
Mhm.
to get really upset, but now I see my clients so much, but it's kind of interesting to see that yeah, that's like the energy you give, those kinds of people are going to stay with you. And when you kind of accept that, it kind of makes it easier because you're not fighting with the client necessarily. Not fighting, but you're not like having to work so hard, just try to like understand each other. There's already that understanding. So
Right.
what kind of clients do you feel like you're attracting right now?
So I just remember what I was going to say, and it ties into this. So because Pilates is a luxury, right? And I'm having people come to my apartments, very humble apartment, humble abode. And I remember, I forgot how it came up, but one of my clients, I end up finding out, has like a $10 million home. She can go anywhere, but where is she deciding to come? To my small little humble apartment. And because part of me at the beginning was like, man, I don't know if they're going to want to come to my place. I'm so uncertain they can go anywhere. But to your point, they follow and they're loyal to the instructor and they come for who I am. And I think like the peace that they feel when they come in here. So that in itself, I think is a testament to if you invest in yourself as an instructor and your education and feeling confident, then you'll be like kind of like set for future projections and like growth. But I think the other thing in understanding is not every client is going to stick with you, right? And it's not to say you're a bad instructor. Maybe it's not a good fit, like you said, but there's also an opportunity to be grateful for this client who was able to sustain me because building a schedule is not easy, right? Once you, especially at the beginning, but you can be grateful for, you know what, this person trained with me 4 times this month. Thank you so much. They're there to sustain you, maybe not to maintain you. And there's different seasons that I've gone through during this journey. Sometimes the clients come for like one session, they don't come back. It's like, okay, well, they came for one session. I got paid. They know me. Maybe they'll learn or they'll be reminded of me later down the road. Maybe they'll refer me somewhere. That's okay.
No, that's 100%. I love that you said that. It is a seasonal thing. Like I have clients, yeah, that will take a break for a little bit and you don't know what people are going through, like people have personal family issues, but then they'll come back like a year later and then they're your long-term client or they recommend you to somebody because they think that you'd be a better fit. It is really about like that perspective. What did you say exactly? You said, I can't remember exactly what you said, but you said something really interesting about
Like there's an opportunity to be grateful for the clients that sustain you.
yes, that there's something else you said. I wish I had taken a note, but there is, yeah, you should be grateful for those clients. But mainly my point is that mindset you have around gratitude, I think keeps also, like we were saying, kind of that positivity as a person, as a teacher. And I think knowing that your clients, like in the end, you're in charge of maintaining your client base. And I think sometimes what can happen is newer teachers can get kind of upset that the clients don't stick with them. But I
Mhm.
think in the long term, having that mindset will keep you feeling more positive when people are coming in the door rather than having a negative feeling towards like, oh, they didn't come back. Like I'm a horrible teacher. It's like so easy kind of to go down that negative spiral instead of like you were saying, which I love, is that gratitude of being like, I'm thankful that you came in and you tried it and maybe we didn't work out, but that doesn't mean that there aren't clients who are going to appreciate what I have to offer. So I think that's an important and a great point you made.
Yeah, and it's hard. I will say it's hard to teach and be desperate for the client.
They
Because
can
then,
smell it. It's a feeling.
yes,
They can smell it. Like
you
it's
sound
not,
salesy. You feel
yeah,
salesy.
it's
That's
like
not what you're
cringy.
supposed to.
That's not, yeah, it's not a great feeling.
And you can't grow that way. It's not sustainable because then, I mean, like you said, there's a season where you take anyone, but when you get to choose, that's a little more special, I think, when you get to attract the proper clientele. And to your point earlier of the types of clients that I get, I get surprised and I pray about this. I pray about the clients who have come to my studio. I hope that they're doing well. The clients who are currently at my studio and the future clients who will come and meet me. I pray for their heart. I pray that they be kind. I pray that only the clients that I feel like align with what my intentions are come and see me. Because anyone can come and this is my home, right? I want to be
Mhm.
intentional about who I bring in. So I just try to attract that way because I don't do too much branding on social media. Google, it's hard to brand. I mean, I guess my website, but it's very black and white. It's nothing too extravagant to say like I only want this group of people. I try to be a little bit with the language that I use,
Mhm.
but even then it's pretty broad. So I try to pray about the people who will come to my space.
I think also, like you said, I love that word intentionality, especially when it comes to how you run a business, because if you are kind of intentional about your brand and who you are, and you have that firm understanding of this is my value, this is what I value, and those inherently will attract those clients because they're going to see that, even if it's through a referral or just by meeting you. If you embody kind of your values, those people are with you because of those values. What do you think are some of, like, I don't know, like 2 or 3 values that you feel that really kind of encompass your brand and kind of your studio?
I would say, well, one, I think it's faith. Although I'm not very vocal about it in my branding and my marketing, I
Mhm.
think there's a certain sense of like peace and alignment that people see. The second one I would say is family. Once you have a private client, you're building relationships with them. And I really value my family, and the clients who I have also value theirs. So there's an opportunity to connect there because there's a sense of love. There's a sense of generational. I have clients who are in their 30s and their 70s, clients who may be widow soon, right? So it's this range of like growth. And I think that coming of age that is always fun to reflect on. So I would say faith and family. Those are the two values that I think I I do a good job of communicating and connecting with when they're in the studio.
And I love those values because I used to work at Equinox teaching private lessons, which is like a major corporation, and
Yeah.
they don't value their clients as like community. Like, there's something so nice about a smaller studio or just going to a teacher, because you know that person, that's their business, that's, they really do care about you. Something about working for corporations, like they barely even care for their instructors. So it's
Mhm.
hard for sort of the instructors, or the caring instructors won't stay because they're not being compensated for the care. And it's kind of, sometimes I feel like, sad in the major kind of corporate fitness spaces because there is a lack of kind of, I think, yeah, there's like a lack of what is the word? There's a lack of like good teachers or good instructors or qualified people, because they tend to leave if you are very qualified.
Right.
So a lot of people aren't really getting the true benefits of experiencing somebody who really cares, or if, and that's something so nice about smaller studios and small businesses, which I think kind of is the direction of fitness. A lot of people I know are kind of gravitating more towards mom and pop studios because those people are putting in the energy and the effort to really invest in their businesses, and the clients can feel it.
Yeah, and the research shows that there's like an increase in boutique studios. I think that's across yoga and Pilates as well.
Mhm.
And they are seeking community, I think, especially after COVID-19. And I think the more I don't know if affluent is the right word, but I think as people jump into the Pilates pool, if they really love it, they continue to dig, they'll find classical Pilates, and then they'll be able to identify that's my instructor. Because similar to how we take any clients at the beginning, I think they take any instructor at the beginning. But once you know, you know?
No, totally. Like, our clients are smart,
Yeah.
like your Instagram or a studio is going to get them in the door, but to sustain them, to have clients, I have clients that I've had for like over 5 years, to
Wow.
keep those
That's
kinds of clients, like those are your family. And I see them more than my friends. And that's something that I feel like you said, I am extremely grateful for. And it's almost a responsibility on our end, I feel like, to continue learning, continue growing for them, because they're investing in us. So it's
Mhm.
like, like, it's almost so obvious. It's like, how, of course, I'm going to have to invest in them because that's what's going to keep them in the door.
Yeah, and that's awesome that you see it that way too, because it's like an honor to have someone come in and trust you with their body.
Yeah.
And I had someone come in recently who's scoliosis and a significant case of scoliosis that I've never seen before. And I don't have any certifications for scoliosis, but my commitment was I'm gonna learn. And thank you for trusting me that I will learn to do this with you. So
Yeah.
there were some like pads that I had to buy that helped her better align her body. And you've seen them at the studio,
Mhm.
but I didn't have them in mind. So one day she came in and I bought them and she was like, wow, like thank you for buying them. And it those little things of like I'm gonna be again intentional about who I train, how I train. says a lot about who you are as an instructor, but I think it also is a testament to like how you live your life. Are you stewarding what's in your hands? That's how things will grow. It's not enough to say, oh, I'm going to learn when I have 20 clients. You got to learn when you have one. You got to learn when you have two. You got to continue to like sow your seed, right? Plant the
Well, you
seed.
won't be ready for like those 20 clients if you didn't prepare when you had that one. It's like that time is important. You know, you need that slow period to be ready. Because, like you
Yeah.
said, it's like a faith, like religious or not, it's like you're getting the opportunity, and like maybe God or somebody is, or spiritually is giving you this time and space to hone in on your craft. You know, maybe you're not busy, but you can utilize that time to deepen your education, because it's not going to be like that forever. Then you're busy and you have those skill sets and those resources and tools. And then you get 20 clients and you can handle it. So it's
Right.
like that you said that. Yeah.
Exactly. And everything has a season. It's cyclical, right? In the winter, just thinking about agriculture wise, in the winter, the trees don't have any leaves anymore because they need that. They need to be barren to then bear fruit.
Right.
So everything has a season. And to your point, like, how can I utilize this space? Don't get sad that you don't have clients maybe right now. How can I optimize? How can I maybe be more productive? What area do I need to look at? Where's the gap? But before I move on, kudos to you for having clients for 5 years. Like that's such a true, like, what a badge of honor that is that they've trusted you for this long and that you've continued to challenge them because they were not coming back if they didn't see any progress. So good on you, Laura. Love that for you.
Thank you. No, that's great. I think it's also, like you were saying earlier, it's choosing the people you surround yourself with. Like I'm lucky to be in New York City, where there's like some of the best instructors in the world. And when you're around those kinds of people who hold themselves to such a high level of excellence and demand not only the best for themselves, but for their clients, you kind of don't have a choice but to level up. And it's used to feel daunting, but yeah, it is a privilege to be in that space where you're like, oh shit, like that wasn't the best decision for my client today, but that's okay. And tomorrow will be better. But like that I like, I'm surrounded by people who inspire me and who are teaching me, and like it's okay. Today wasn't great, but it's going to be better tomorrow, and I'm going to keep trying and learning, and it's fun.
And that's such a good perspective to have because your identity is not tied to how great your session was, right? There's a difference between who you are as a person and your profession and your career. Sure, sometimes how you are as a person can attract your clientele, but you should not be defeated by a bad session because, like you said, you're gonna have another one. And it's like, oh, I'm like a terrible instructor. No, you just had a bad session, right? And maybe it wasn't even terrible for the client.
They
Client
don't,
didn't
yeah,
know
they
the
usually don't
difference.
even know. As long
Client
as they
went
didn't
home.
hurt themselves, like, yeah.
Yeah, they're good. They're good.
But I love that you said that, because I struggled a lot with that when I first started teaching. For me, I get a lot of anxiety. I'm trying to be so great that I almost get stunted because I overthink so much, like which exercise, I don't know, da 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 da. But what's nice about the classical system is the system is there for a reason. So even if you get confused, just go back to the roots, go back to the system, and almost strip away. I think taking away things, sometimes we can get so caught up in getting too creative that you're like, wait, no, the person just wants to move.
Yeah.
And like, it's like you said, we're not PT, so it's not necessarily our job to fix them. Obviously, as you get more advanced as a teacher, you can pick the right exercises to expedite the results more quickly. But you don't have to always put so much pressure on yourself. So at the end, if you feel like you didn't fix them, quote unquote, you like are sad, and
Mhm.
like, I'm just the worst teacher in the world. And so I like that you said that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's all a journey. It's cool to see them grow too.
It is cool to see them grow. Um, and let's see. And I like what you said about having an identity outside of Pilates. Can you talk a little bit more about like activities you like to do that aren't necessarily tied to Pilates, that kind of help you maintain sort of like your cheerful demeanor? Like just having life and energy, it can't all just be Pilates and work. So what are the things that you do that kind of keep that spirit alive?
Yeah. Well, I do like to cross train, which I know for the purists it's a little tough to accept. But I'm currently training for a race that's coming up. And I've found it quite meditative, honestly. It's almost like time slows down when you're running.
Mm.
And I know sometimes you like wanted to speed up, but I run, I read, go to church, obviously, meet with groups of women, spend time with the family. What else do I do? I have a pretty Joe Schmo life, I gotta tell you. Just laughs,
That's a
love,
good life. That's a
joy.
good
Yeah.
life. That
I
seems like a
cook,
pretty good
I
life.
bake, I try to make sure that my home is clean, keep it peaceful. Yeah, nothing too crazy.
I love that. And something I kind of like to talk about is what are some things in the kind of the beginning of your career that you kind of have learned and been like, I wish I hadn't done those? Because I kind of want other teachers to feel less, alone or just get some more ideas and resources so they don't feel like, so they have more information about what not to do, specifically when starting out.
What I wish I had it done. I'm sure there's something, but I gotta tell you, Laura, it's like so divinely planned that I don't think I would change anything. I feel like I was obedient enough. I got the reformer when I needed to. I maybe not a regret, but what I think I should have done earlier was been more aligned with like my soul,
Mm-hmm.
um, and not lead out of because there was a point where I'm like, I want to grow out of this department. And I almost took not a brand, a partnership deal with someone. And they were coming in. We were like in the last final rounds of, okay, what's this going to look like? What's the payment structure going to look like? What does growth look like? And I was so desperate to move out of my apartment and my studio space to expand that I almost said yes. But I had like a divine intervention. And it's like, no, do not take that opportunity. It's not for you. And I messaged that guy then and there. I was like, hey, I'm so sorry. This is not going to work. And it like broke my heart because I'm like, that was what I wanted to do for growth. So I think for anyone starting, I would say have discernment, know what is for you, what is not for you, when it's your season to learn and stay and remain, and when it's your season to grow. Like right now, as much as I would love to have like my own space, I think I have to maximize my studio before I move forward and be in prayer about when growth is and how can I develop myself as an individual to help my business grow in a projection that doesn't have too many ebbs and flows, right? Because ideally it would all be like linear, although it's not possible. But if we can optimize it so that we don't have too many valleys, that's what I would do.
Oh, that's so cool. Can you speak a little bit more about kind of your season now? Like you talk a lot about the seasons. I also talk about that, but in a different sense, like new teacher, building stage, seasoned professional, because I feel like every season, like you're saying, of your job requires you to have a kind of different mindset. Like I would say a new teacher is just about practicing on any type of body you can, self practice, really understanding the order and the method, not getting too caught up in all the bells and whistles of like, yeah, all the kind of nuances that we were talking about your clientele. And it's kind of more important just to teach. And then the building stage, maybe you are starting to build up your own private practice. You're teaching some mat classes. And then maybe a seasoned professional, somebody who's been in the industry for probably 10 plus years and they have established that. But where are they going next? So, where do you think you kind of are now? And kind of where are you? What are your plans? Or maybe you're just in a lull season where you're just sort of reaping the benefits of what you've already done.
Yeah. Well, actually, so this morning I was looking at like the financial reports and year over year I was up like 304%. Of course, I started with like almost nothing, but just to see that growth in 1 year, it's like glory to God, that was awesome. But where I am now is stewarding what I have, trying to keep my heart open and my ears inclined to the word so that when an opportunity does come, I know whether it's for me or it's not. And I think I'm also leaning into community relationships and not being too like networky about it, but how is training at the studio over here? What is this studio doing? Let me meet this person. I'm sure we have something in common because we're both in the fitness industry. But I think having those community relationships outside of your sphere of influence
Mm.
is gonna be awesome for your growth. Because it's not just, I think, going back to Equinox, I think if you see the model that they have, there were clients who trained with weights and with Pilates. I think we're seeing a lot of cross training now.
Mm.
If you have this abundance mindset of it's not just me and I want clients to only train with me, I will refer clients to this weight training, this personal trainer, or this physical therapist, or this yoga instructor, if that's what they want. Knowing who's good in the industry is also a reflection on you, and your ability to refer your client to someone else strengthens that network that you have. So I think that's the season that I'm in, where I want to be intentional about what I have in my hand so that it can grow. So I can kind of like show like, yes, give me more. I can handle more. And building community relationships is one of those things.
I love that. I honestly have the kind of a same feeling about where I am now, but intentionality is like a big thing, I think, comes with authenticity, but you're 100% right, is being intentional about how you move through life or business partnerships or community. I think that is how your business grows. Like I met you through Katie, right? And I was lucky enough to work with you, and it wasn't it doesn't feel as transactional. And I feel like now we're here talking together now. So it's like so nice having that community aspect. And you're 100% right. Like I have recommended clients to people when they travel, or other teachers have recommended clients, they come in, or you help your client go to a physical therapist, and that builds trust with the clients.
Right.
And that is that community you're talking about, because you're like, I have your back. Like I care about you as a human being. It's not about the transaction of you're paying me, check off, next thing, but it's like that care and community, which I think is like kind of lacking now within this fitness sphere, because everything kind of has become certainly commercialized, and for a lot of the corporate fitness, and people get hurt that way. Personally, I think, I mean, I can't speak for everybody, but because there is sort of there becomes a lack of intentionality. I think in the beginning, like Equinox was probably more intentional, but now they're just so big, it's more about numbers, and people feel that. So
yeah, and there's a difference between, so we mentioned earlier excellence, right? There is a standard of excellence, and that's attractive, but I think authenticity is irresistible. When someone can see that you're aligned in who you are and your identity, but you're also great at your job, and there's this heart and passion behind you, and you're authentic, that's irresistible. That's when people stay. That's when client retention happens. That's when referrals happen.
And they're excited to come see you, and you're excited, and it's like, this is going to be so fun.
Yeah, 100%.
What have you had any bad experiences with any clients that sort of have like taught you about where you like valuing that community? Or is it just something that you've always kind of felt what was one of your values? Or did something specific happen that you were like, oh, I need to make sure that I really hold those values of like community and like faith and I can't remember the other one you said, but is that something that you've always had a internal knowing of, or is that something that's kind of come about?
I think once I changed in my mind, I changed because I think growing up I had scarcity mindset, right? We hear about it a lot. But I think as I continued to mature as an individual and like in faith, there's a true calling of abundance. Like we're called for an abundant life. But if we're in this mindset of, oh no, this client can only train with one person, like that's not true. This client can train with two people. And the truth is, the clients that we have, they have the financial resources to train with two people, right? Some may not have the time to train with two people, and that's okay. But if they value it, they're going to make time for both. And when I decided that I wanted to get personal training for this race, because I know that there was an importance to weight training outside of Pilates. I knew that there was a benefit for both. Like, you know what? Let's go see what they do at this other studio. And then I'm like, I can talk to the owner. Who knows what opportunities can come about? And I think if I was still in my scarcity mindset, I would be more defensive with my interaction with them and feel like I had to almost like defend Pilates as the sole modality, the one that can really get you to your fitness goals. But if you expand your mindset a little bit of like, maybe Pilates isn't for everyone. Maybe Pilates is a good cross-training modality, but it doesn't have to be the only one. Maybe for some people it is like because I know people like that. Like I only want to do Pilates. I'm like, great, well, good thing I teach Pilates, you know? But that's where like I think the mind shifts happened. And I'm like, you know what? Other people who have similar like fitness businesses are not my enemy. They're my partners if I can steward this relationship.
Yeah, I love that you said that. And I think that only speaks to probably how fast your business is growing and how well it's doing is because you've made those relationships and you come with that intentionality. But I want to talk a little bit about strength training and Pilates and sort of the mm, some people in some camps believe that it's you don't really need to strength train and just only Pilates or like Pilates is only for girls. But like you said, that I think they work. I personally really truly believe that they work so well together and have seen amazing results when using them together. Um, what are your kind of feelings about that through your own practices?
Yeah, I mean, I feel the same way. I mean, I run, I did rock climbing for a little bit. I think they work together. I think if you wanted to do like a science experiment, yes, only do Pilates. And there was a season in my life where it's like, okay, let's only do Pilates and just, controlled variables.
Mm-hmm.
You can see the difference that way too, to get the true experience, which I think is one of the arguments that people make. If you wanted to see the benefits of Pilates, it might make sense to make it like a controlled science experiment where you only do Pilates. But the truth is, our body recognizes more movement patterns. So, variations in movement patterns, I think, is what helps with respond to life actions and behaviors. If you have an active lifestyle, right? If all you
Yeah.
do is stay home and maybe go to the grocery store, come back home, you're not really going out anywhere, maybe you'd be fine. But there's also more life to doing things outside of Pilates, I think, like outdoor activities, outdoor fitness.
I think Pilates, well, the reason I value Pilates is it gives me that agency and ability to do other things with ease. Like
Mm-hmm.
I know friends of mine, 29, almost 30. Well, I'll be 30 soon, but like, yeah, they have back pain. And I'm like, you should not be having back pain at 30 years old. Like that's that's not good. So yeah, it gives you that flexibility, mobility, and stability to move freely in whatever other activities you like. Maybe it's pickleball, but it doesn't really matter as long as you like have that ability to live and feel free and active.
I think it's definitely foundational. What I found is when I picked up, so I also did CrossFit. When I went into CrossFit, because I had my Pilates background, I was able to watch the instructor, mirror the movement, and be safe. I was able to engage my core a little bit more when I needed to. When you're squatting, it's a little different. It's not really a scoop, it's more of like a bracing
Mhm.
sensation. But my form was there. When I'm running, my form is there. Why? Because I have the foundation of Pilates. And I had trainers tell me, you have good form. I'm like, yeah, thanks. I do Pilates. That's what it is.
It's the Pilates. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I guess we can kind of wrap it up a little bit, but um, what do you feel like is kind of the direction of the fitness industry? Where do you feel like, from a marketing standpoint, the fitness industry is sort of moving towards? Do you feel like things are rapidly changing and that we need to sort of be more adaptable and teachers need to be more open? Or do you think that there's a stabilization of where we are now?
I think it depends on the instructor, and clients will gravitate, like the market will respond. If you're an instructor who has adapted and your clients are growing, great. If you're an instructor who hasn't adapted and your clients are still going, great. I think there's space for both. If you want to maintain and stay where you are, that's fine. But I think we're going to have more savvy fitness goers. And those are the ones who are going to be experienced and they're going to be able to tell who is an excellent instructor, who's an authentic instructor, and they will have more money. So if you want to be profitable and have a lucrative business, of course, there's so many ways to make money because you can probably get away with teaching group classes and making that profitable.
Mhm.
But I think to live an aligned life, an intentional, purposeful, where you feel like you're making an impact and you're being authentic, I think you're gonna have to evolve. I think you will have to evolve because like you have to grow as a person. And if you grow as a person, your business will grow. And we're not 70, we're not 80, right? Maybe when we retire, we'll be like, oh, let's just sell the business. That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But I think consumers are going to be more intelligent fitness goers because fitness is now widespread. And I think we are definitely going into more proactive healthcare than reactive. And Pilates is one of those things. And I'm hopeful for the future.
Totally. I know. I love that you said that. I think being adaptable and having a growth mindset, because the world is changing so rapidly, is like the only way that you're going to have a sustainable life inside and outside of business. So, and also having that mindset of gratitude. But thank you so much for talking. This was a really great conversation. I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me, Laura. It's an
Can
honor.
you quickly just tell everybody your Instagram handle, where to find you? If you're in Miami, check her out. She's an amazing teacher.
You. Yes, I'm in Miami. My handle is my first name. So Saphisher, Saphicher. And then the website is www.pilatesplates.com.
Oh, I love that. Thank you so much.